Hey,
Hey
Coyotes,
Coyotes,
welcome
welcome
to
to
the
the
Coyote
Coyotecast.
Cast. I'm LJ,
And I'm Jayla.
and we're here
Here with
with Miss Valverde.
Hi. So with my class, you have to start with Pro Start 1, and that's where you get a lot of the basics of baking and cooking, and then you learn the basics of like restaurant management as well. And then Pro Start 2, we go more in depth. They do a lot more, I think, like difficult recipes. They kind of get to dive into different categories of different types of foods. Um, and then their third year, so junior or senior year, they are set up to do an internship where they get to be placed in a local restaurant, or we're working on with Sweet Baby J's hopefully soon, where they can go in there and kind of learn skills from her as well as kind of apply the skills that they've learned in class. And then we are also working on getting some dual credit for next year.
Do you cover any of the information on history of culinary?
Yes. So, Pro Start 1, it's a very brief section of history of culinary. We talk about Auguste Escoffier, um, and we kind of go over different chefs and what they do and how they got there. Um, so yeah, we do cover. It's really brief because we have a lot to cover, but we do get to cover some of that.
What kind of cooking styles does the class focus
Um, because we're in New Mexico, especially whenever we're doing a lot of like staff lunches or food truck stuff, we kind of tend to focus on New Mexican dishes, burritos, enchiladas, pozole, green chili stew. But we do get to dive into different types of foods. Like last week, they got to make homemade pasta and homemade Alfredo sauce, so that was actually really good. Jayla made it, and it was pretty awesome.
It was pretty good. um, is the class more hands-on or demonstration based?
It's more hands-on. I don't really have the setup to do a lot of demos myself. Um, Hopefully we get that soon. But my students do a pretty good job of kind of figuring it out on their own after I'll show them a demo video. Um, and then they get to kind of figure it out on their own once they get in the kitchen, which I think is a better learning experience for them.
for your classes? What is your average student to teacher ratio?
In my class, I believe I have about roughly around 20 to 25 students. I think my biggest class is probably 28, but that's only if everyone is there. But yeah, it's roughly around 20 to 25 students.
Um, do you cover any of the information on the wait? Hold on, pause. What does taking the culinary class do for students in the future?
Obviously, they learn how to cook. They're always going to have to know how to cook for themselves, for their families. And it also kind of gives them an interest in cooking so they don't just kind of do the same things. I like to think that they learn, like I said, we did the homemade pasta, and it was a lot easier than I think a lot of them thought. And so I want to think that they go home and use that and tell their parents, hey, we can make the pasta instead of buying it. Maybe save themselves some money later on, especially if they're going to school instead of having to eat out. They can cook for themselves. And I actually always have at least one or two students that really are interested in the industry and find out that they're really good at baking. It's always baking that I tend to have more students that really like, um, and they want to pursue an education in baking and pastry arts.
Miss Valverde, culinary does the food truck, right?
Correct.
How does that work? So, like, what do students have to do to work there?
So they have to be my Pro Start 2 students, and that is because when they take Pro Start 1, they receive their Serve Safe certification, and that's their safety and sanitation certification. And that's basically um, a, a certification that tells everyone that they know how to handle food properly. Um, so I prefer to let my Pro Start 2 kids do it because they basically know how everything works. They know how I do things. They know how I like things to taste, basically, too. So I've had them a lot longer, so it's just easier if I have my older students do it, my upperclassmen. And also, they have to have that Serve Safe certification.
Will be the end of the podcast. And that's all the questions that we have for you. I just like to say thank you for your time, and if you have any other comments or things you want to put out there for the class and the school, maybe for lower classmen,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
mean, my class is fun. It's awesome. I have a lot of kids that want to take my class, but if you're one that is really interested in it, I definitely recommend you signing up. And also, just for my teachers out there, don't forget that we do have a fountain machine with Pepsi products and Dr. Pepper. That all of that money goes to our program, and your support would really be appreciated. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Sweet.